Hi there, I'm so excited to be sharing some more poetry with you guys today. From my book, Little Black Book, A Young Activist's Love Story, which I published about 2 months ago. I will be talking about love and life and activism, and this first poem is just about happiness and to open up the space. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Mine takes in the night sky, snow peacefully flies while I'm leaping into an abyss of happiness. Oh, I hope to always remember the satisfaction, for if I die in the sea of silence, all will be pardoned. So this particular poem is just about the beauty that we get to see every single day that we are in silence, whether it's with ourselves, our lover, our family, outside, inside, all the above. And that at the end of the day, what we really need to live happily is to be content. And when you're content, just everything is okay, everything will be all right. Now this next one is about falling in love, and how sometimes you're in love with someone, whether it's a friend or family or whatever, and that sometimes it needs to shift and change with the different paths that have been laid and unlaid out for you. There's a predictability in the stars for us to fall apart and find ourselves among the little shards, our answers laid out like a forecast, storm, sunshine, rain, all made to be a beyond puzzle. Together, made to build, perfectly fit, nuzzled with no space between. Hardly could I keep my path. It was all half and again diverging and converging. A path of stardust. I took one way and you took another. The beautiful thing is we still said hello and you said he was a lucky man. It was perfect, for we shone without outshining another. I can't place you, never were and be mine. Gratitude and debt to a place who knew that summer ice cream, family fortunate to know other language making up our expressions, lakes splashing, moonlight, our laughter departing into the world. Hardly could I tell apart the time away from you, confused, frustrated, happy in days, because it didn't feel the same without you. I wrote love songs but couldn't write about love. I sang to the river and harmonized with the rain, prayed for true love and took a rock to symbolize something special and healthy. You were off limits, which broke my heart, but happy forever for what all happened, because I'll always be in your presence. I will never leave your soul, a connection. Then he came to me, a star in disguise, and he surprised me off the coast of Maine, knowing telling you would be painful, but worth it. It was healthy. Perfect, like a love story. So thank you for this beautiful life we live, to the world, never needing to break hearts, just stardust running right, my forever friend. I love that poem. It's one of my favorites that I wrote. I actually wrote it in astronomy class. So that's why there's a lot of the beginning with the symbolism of the stars, and that there is something about a predictability in the certain stars that we were born under, and that sometimes it shifts and changes, but how beautiful it is that we can relate to the nature and the natural way of life living itself out. So the past year I have fallen in love with my first ever love, and it's been amazing. And this is just around being a young activist and being in love, and it's one of the title poems. So it's called An Activist's Love Story. He let me laugh when I cried for the world. He held my hand as I marched through the streets. He fell asleep as I answered another call. He supported my public speech. Love grew within me every time it gets me. How lucky. This is an activist's love story. So this final one before I finish off with my big bang called the Final Exposition. This one is about an activist and how us as a younger generation having to step into these, really big seats of strength and determination to create the future we want to see, and how it's difficult sometimes, but this is who we are. I don't know why, but this is the beginning of me writing about my activism. I guess it's my breathing breath, so written words don't need to validate it. It beats in my heart, never losing sight, the cries of justice heard in the wind, all odds against us. Yet nature is meant to happen. Righting the wrong, always gone, tipping the scale, balance. And sometimes it's hard, breath tight, fist clenched, not allowing myself to live. Why celebrate anything if we haven't done what we need to do? As our stomachs drop, another storm hits. Our tears wash away the blood spilt by our fellow humans. Tear gas burns, air grenades split. It's anxiety at night, not picking our futures, afraid to hope. Another day feels blessed. It's not just I anymore. The full pain painted secondhand by brothers and sisters. Collective is our voice. Doesn't just represent I anymore, but her and him and all of us who have wept in fields of green mountain meadows living brightly under the stars. Smoke billows from our lips. It's better to numb our minds than to think what is going into our lungs unconsensual. Industries too caught up on the money to care. Sometimes it just feels better to control the poisoning they think, and it hurts knowing our pain is so great that we want control even over our own joy, if only to last a night, 10 minutes, a second. The high brought down by greed, racism, oppression, it sucked our childhood away. But we rise with wings on our back, unfurled and knit together. We fly forward, never stopping, believing in a better world despite everything, odds or none. We will fight and seek justice, listening with open hearts and minds. Our world is special and we will do anything to protect it. Oh, the sacrifice of childhood is so great. Oh, such a good one. And this really leads into the next final poem called the Final Exposition. And this is a very, very interesting story that I tell throughout these words of these people who say that the U.S. has got it better and, you know, somebody else has it worse. But also realizing that we are all not that much different than we make it, and that we are all struggling with very similar things. But also realizing that makes us responsible for the pain and trauma that we have created within this country, and all the things that we are as people are trying to rise up and do and change. So enjoy the Final Exposition. They say the U.S. gotta stop complaining, we have it worse. Hits in the gut and I can't stop thinking about those words. Yes, we have it better. And or white privilege and or money more like it. Paint lines in the sand and perfect and on their doorway. He says, y'all keep dividing yourselves, LGBTQ+, BLM, environmental, and y'all make it about something called microaggressions. But I can't help notice that these walls were created for unjust reasons. I see their country with poverty staring back. I see poverty walking my home streets. These things are the problems of name calling. We are dealing with root causes. Never makes sense, but poetry has to say it somehow. Because I've seen things, and a white girl explaining might be angering, but I'ma have a go at an issue so big. We are all a part of the problem of completing it. You see, these problems start in conversations, turned into debates that spell competition, filling up answer bubbles that the rich excel in. Man, you see that we make these groups because our politicians like meddling in other countries due to them not wanting to agree that home looks the same as developing countries. Bro, we are so angry for the kids who proudly state KKK their patriarchy, and they judge all who look, talk, or do anything different than them, call them weird, retarded, and foreign like daggers at their back. Then boys grow into age, but not by brains, and sit in seats of power way too high for them to see because they were born into them. In families coming from the blood-washed God Bless America, built on the backs of slaves and mass genocide, families stay in power by blood, but not compassion. About the boys' club, we are so angry that makes rape culture ignorance and shaming their code words. They high-five and laugh in meetings. God damn, we're angry. For the adults that spill oil into the oceans, that killed children by pipes lead filled with air tasting like chemicals, making our brains hurt, that turn into a girl that turns into cancer in a girl who fought so no child would ever see their body disappear. She didn't deserve it, and they call this business of poison profit. Fuck it. for my love who shares the same privileges as me, but because language number one is Spanish and holds a passport that proudly states it, is stopped by TSA every single time he leaves his country to be in his grandmother's brace and gets very quiet. Thank you, Bush, for going to war against the Middle East to kill the terrorist, only that wasn't the real reason, because doesn't oil taste sweeter in the Middle East? Old man, how do bombs feel on your family's only home? This is my country, the land of the free, as children are ripped away from their homes by something called borders and on reservations that are actually barren food deserts to adopt and save the human, kill the foreign. White people, you don't come from here. Great uncle, no. People who don't look like you. Your country is a horror to people who don't look like you, talk like you, hold education in the palm of your hand as if it's some sort of accessory. Yes, abortion is legal in Colorado. How did you know? As the woman is shamed for her decision, no, she won't take it back. No, she doesn't share her story. No, she won't be embarrassed, because if her cousins ever found out, they would look at her like she was an alien and curse her in the name of God. God loves everyone, even the Jews, Muslims, atheists, and indigenous people, because we are one. So yes, our countries look different by the numbers, names, and social statistics. But I see my country and cry for the pain never seen and felt by the economists, politicians, presidents, and billionaires. Yes, people are angry and they're turning their words into action from inspiration. Handed us flowers to the girl who feels like giving up with her hoodie on in the back of an underpaid teacher's classroom. Systems are failing, and that means it's time for renovation. So stop being afraid of death, because rebirth is a part of a millennia-old system. I'm awakened by the sky, colored turned dark, born into light that turns into gold, that showers the earth in a sigh of relief, because emotions are a cycle causing all of us to be human. So yes, we are waking up in masses of poppy fields that wink black eyes of beauty, interconnected like stars, sprinkled in galaxies far on another island. We are different and yet similarly perfect in imperfect cohesion. My country hurts because maybe it has a disease it doesn't want to treat, but we, the people, as the body, need to acknowledge the trauma, be the blood, nerves, and brain to knit it back together. Our people imagine the country. Isn't that lovely? The idea of a competition reconstructed into ideas that make into minds that can change, and call for facilitated collaboration, guardians, and turn into keepers of people who coincide in nature. Paper, trees, oh, what do we make it like? Boxes we live in. Pages are the different sizes of the same material that is nature, that is a part of us, which lives inside our minds. So can I read yours? Cry, break free, and write into questions of what, how, and make sure to emphasize the why. And one day he'll ask me what I think about politics in my country, and I'll say, our borders are under reconstruction because we've only imagined them. So we can change them, all things being equal, something so revolutionary that they call it the evolution of consciousness. Isn't that spectacular? And the whole time we finally realized people were in power, and that we've done it. And that our humanness means keeping our piece of space clean and healthy, and we've done it. And every night I will go to sleep mystified that the youth did it, adults helped them, and nature bounded and leaped with them. I will weep in this man's presence as I greet him as another human being. We will come to terms that humans' worries are constructed beliefs made by emotions brought by the wrongdoing of people. And I'm back in the current moment as he says, your country is perfect. And I smile because I know it isn't. But I respond, we are human, and therefore what is a country? And I get back to work smiling because we are creating change globally. Thank you guys so much. You can purchase my book, Little Black Book, on Amazon or lulu.com, where I actually published this book. If you want to follow me on social media or follow my next creation of my next book, you can follow me on social media at Marlow Baines. And then also there's the information to find my book, where you can also search on Google Little Black Book by Marlow Baines. I feel so incredibly blessed and so excited to be sharing my poetry with you, so I hope it brought a little bit of joy, inspiration, fierce fire within you. And remember that you are enough. You are beautiful and amazing and lovely, so thank you. Thank you for listening and hearing me. Have a lovely day.